Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking an absolute classic in the management world. We're going to see how getting incredible, top-tier results from your team honestly doesn't require endless hours, intense micromanagement, or incredibly complex software systems. If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by the sheer amount of time it takes to lead a team effectively, well, you're in exactly the right place. We're about to break down a beautifully structured approach to leadership that relies on absolute, brilliant simplicity.
It's a pretty wild question, right? But you've definitely seen it. Why do some managers seem to effortlessly get these incredible results while barely seeming to break a sweat, while others put in grueling 12-hour days and still struggle to keep their people motivated? We're going to explore how Kenneth Blanchard and Spencer Johnson totally solved this dilemma by stripping management down to its absolute simplest, most actionable form.
Just wrap your head around this number for a second. 15 million. First published back in 1982, this slim little parable called the One Minute Manager has sold over 15 million copies. It remains a total staple in corporate training programs around the world precisely because its brevity is its superpower. It tells the story of a young manager searching for effective leadership, and what he finds is completely counterintuitive to how most of us operate day to day.
Look, we've all seen the two extremes. On one hand, you've got the tough managers. They're focused entirely on the bottom line, treating people like numbers on a spreadsheet, which inevitably just leads to completely burned-out employees. On the other hand, you've got the nice managers. They're so incredibly focused on making sure everyone feels warm and fuzzy that the actual team results really start to suffer. Neither of these extremes produces truly effective, happy workplaces.
But here is the massive paradigm shift. People and results, they aren't opposites. You absolutely do not have to sacrifice one to get the other. In fact, investing in your people is actually the absolute fastest path to getting those better results. You don't have to choose between being tough or being nice. You really just have to be intentional.
Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We'll cover 1. The Great Management Dilemma, 2. 1-minute goal setting, 3. The 1-minute praising, 4. The 1-minute reprimand, and finally, 5. The central philosophy. Let's jump right in. Section 2. 1-minute goal setting. To kick things off, this first practice requires you to stop assuming your team knows exactly what's expected of them.
Because here's a totally mind-blowing reality check. Most performance problems aren't actually motivation problems at all. They're clarity problems. Research shows that if you ask a manager and an employee separately to list the employee's top responsibilities, their answers almost never match. That shifts the blame, doesn't it? People are usually hustling tirelessly, but they're working on the wrong things simply because nobody clarified what actually matters. You literally can't hit a target you can't see.
So how do we fix it? Rigid constraints. You and your team members sit down and agree on 3 to 5 goals, max. You write each goal in a single paragraph, keep it under 250 words, and it has to be readable in about a minute. Boom. This creates a single sheet of paper that serves as an absolute, unquestionable standard for what good performance actually looks like. No bureaucracy here, just pure, absolute clarity. Moving right along to Section 3, the 1-minute praising. Now that your team's goals are totally locked in, your job as a manager shifts entirely. Instead of waiting for them to fail, you actively start hunting for their wins. But first, we kinda have to talk about what most managers actually do. A toxic little habit the authors call zapping. You know the drill. You hire someone, give them vague instructions, and then literally ghost them until they mess up. Then, out of nowhere, management swoops in, focusing entirely on criticism. It accidentally creates a massive culture of fear. To break that cycle, you're going to use 4 exact steps, taking less than 60 seconds total. 1. Catch them doing something right. 2. Get super specific. Don't just say nice work. Say, I love how you stayed completely calm and de-escalated that frustrated client just now. 3. Tell them exactly how that success makes you feel. And 4. This is absolutely crucial. Pause. Just stop talking for a second. Let the psychological weight of that praise truly land and sink in. And this brilliantly illustrates why it works. Behavior that gets reinforced gets repeated. It's really that simple. If the only time people hear from you is when they're in trouble, your attention equals fear. But if they know their successes will be noticed immediately and specifically, they're going to bend over backwards to repeat those successes for you. All right, Section 4, the 1-minute reprimand. This is the delicate part.
It deals with how you deliver hard feedback to course-correct someone without completely wrecking your working relationship.
Listen, it is critical to understand a major distinction here. A reprimand is not the same thing as a punishment. Punishments usually involve managers carrying around this vague, simmering frustration for weeks, which just totally ruins the vibe and damages relationships. A reprimand is a highly structured tool. It's not about holding a grudge. It's designed to correct a mistake while actually protecting the employee's self-esteem.
Here is the fail-proof sequence. First, address the issue immediately. Don't sit on it. Second, state exactly what happened without any generalizing. Forget saying, "You never get things done." Instead say, "This report was due Tuesday and it still isn't finished." Third, express how you feel about it, and then, hit them with that uncomfortable pause again. Fourth, and this is pure magic, immediately pivot and sincerely validate them. Remind them they're valued and capable of so much better. Fifth, let it go, completely. Minutes over, moving on.
The secret sauce making this entire sequence work is separating the behavior from the person. When you clearly divide the mistake from their actual inherent worth to the team, people don't put up those massive defensive walls. They can actually absorb the hard feedback because they know the relationship itself isn't at risk.
Section 5. The Central Philosophy. Let's zoom out and look at the umbrella concept tying all these brief habits together into one highly effective leadership style.
Think of this as your ultimate daily checklist. Take a minute to look at your goals. Take a minute to look at your behavior. Then simply check if your behavior actually matches your goals. This constant micro-alignment between intention and action is exactly what separates those effortless, high-performing leaders from the ones pulling their hair out working 80-hour weeks.
Because at the end of the day, effective management doesn't require extra hours. You don't need more meetings, you don't need more software, and you don't need some massive overhaul of your systems. You just need extreme intention in the time you're already spending. Set clear goals together. Praise the good stuff the second you see it. Fix mistakes fast without crushing the person.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I've got a challenge for you. Which of these 3 practices are you the absolute worst at right now? Seriously, think about it. Is it goal setting, praising, or reprimanding? Finding your weakest link is literally step 1 to transforming your leadership style and becoming a true one-minute manager. Let that question sink in and use it to drive the very next interaction you have with your team.